Welcome to the Cool Health Podcast, where we unlock groundbreaking research in health and wellness by bringing you the latest in health news and in-depth interviews with experts in their fields. We're here to make health cool again. All right, guys, we're back. I hope you haven't missed me too long. We have a very special guest today, Ian Clark, in the building. For those who don't know, Ian has an incredible journey. A 46-year-old back then who defied a life-threatening diagnosis and a prognosis of 3 years to live. Determined not to settle for subpar health, our fearless protagonist embarked on a global quest for potent remedies with powerful natural benefits. So this guy had all these life-threatening diseases. He had a timeline that was given to him from his doctors. They didn't know what was going on with him. So guess what? Guess what Ian did? He said, F that. I'm taking responsibility and I'm going forth with action. So speaking of that, he founded Activation Products, a company dedicated to providing top-level ingredients and empowering others to invest in their health. He works with his son, Anthony. He looks like he's 27. He's got the dopest beard in the game. Ian, welcome to the show, man.
Hey, John. Yeah, thanks for having me
Oh,
on.
man. You know, we were just talking, and you cover a lot of stuff, and sometimes I don't know where to start with these things. So what better way to ask a guy like you, what did you do this morning? How does your morning routine look like nowadays?
My morning routine today was very, very easy. I woke up and drank some salt water.
Okay.
And that's because of that, I'm on a 36-hour fast. I do that once a week. So just 36 hours. And the reason for that, there's a ton of science behind it. I've done all kinds of other fasting, intermittent fasting, and all different, dry fasting. It's been always is an interesting journey. But at the end of the day, I found out the body kicks into high gear for human growth hormone and testosterone production, or for women, progesterone, like they're going to kick into high gear between 35 and 36 hours. If you go past 36 hours, you get a big drop off. There's no value in it at all. If you don't get to the 35, 36 hour, then you've missed out.
Understood.
And it's super easy to do it. Like the first 24 hours, you get a few hunger pangs. You just tell your body, you're not eating. And then the last 12 hours, you're sleeping 8 of it anyway.
Right.
So, yeah, it's pretty easy.
And
simple.
this is in resemblance to an ancestral lifestyle, really. Yeah, you hear all in the health media about, 16-8 fast, let's do a 24-hour fast. Now we're starting into the details and the nuances, and science is coming out saying, hey, we need to go maybe into 24 hours to start kicking in autophagy, right? Autophagy isn't just from 16-8 anymore. Let's start signaling to the body, hey, we're in this hunger state. Let's amp up AMPK. Let's get all of our growth hormone signaling from the pineal gland, the testosterone, and so forth. Now, with this intermediate fasting, do you use anything throughout the fast?
Nope, just straight up salt water. That's it. At the end, I take 12 grams of MSM.
Remind me what MSM is.
Well, it's a long thing. It's a sulfur supplement in a powder form. It's extremely bitter.
Yeah.
I love it. When I first tried it, I couldn't stand it. And within 2 weeks, I was craving it. So what it does when you take it right before you work out, because at the end of the 36 hours you work out, you only go 15 to 18 minutes. That's it. But you need to have MSM in your system 30 minutes before you do the workout. And this applies to all workouts because MSM goes in your system and it allows your muscles to build tight together. Whereas if you don't have it, they're going to build spread out. And then the lactic acid will go into the fibers and cause tearing and injury, scarring. And so that's what builds the big bulky muscles, which you don't want. You want strong, powerful muscles with endurance that are not torn and they're not damaged with lactic acid. So that does that. And then when you're done the 15 to 18 minutes, then you just drink 12 grams more right away and you're good to go.
Interesting.
So, yeah. And the workout is grab whatever heavy object you can, whether it's barbells or, a leg press or bench press or whatever it is. I like kettlebells, like a heavy kettlebell.
Likewise.
You just slowly lift it and with all the fast twitch muscles quivering and go as slow as you can to total fatigue until you just can't move anymore. And that's it. And that brings on autophagy in a big way, because otherwise, if you're hammering everything with the traditional workouts, you get into apoptosis too much. And that's why bodybuilders have a much shorter lifespan.
Interesting.
It's not just from the steroids.
Okay, because they're putting themselves in this sympathetic nervous state, breaking down all the muscles just nonstop, 6 days a week. What are you doing with the?
Yep.
I love kettlebells and I love the slow repetitions, 8 seconds down, 8 seconds up. With what you were referring to, it seemed almost longer. What are you doing with that exercise? Is it a deadlift or a pickup?
Yeah, it's just grabbing it. Yeah, exactly. Like going, squatting down, getting the handles, just lifting it up really, really, really slow until it's above your head, and get a kettlebell that you almost can't lift.
Right.
It's almost too heavy. And then, just do that a few times in that 15 to 18 minutes. It's going to take a long time, but that's the only time you do that. You can work out with kettlebells as often as you like otherwise, because it's very gentle on the system and you don't want to be getting into apoptosis. But yeah, I think that working out, you just want to be really, really strong. I have a friend who works out twice a year using MSM, twice a year. And you wouldn't think so. He's almost 70 years old now. And he plays racquetball avidly. Now he's into pickleball. But he's been doing this forever. And he has so much strength in his body. He's not big and bulky. He's about 6'1". So he's a big guy. But he'll take any guy. He'll say, look, give me your hand. You'll put your hand out like that, like you're going to do an upward shake, and see who can push each other over. And I've only seen one guy ever be able to push him over.
Working out twice a year.
Twice a year.
Okay, before we switch, what's up with this MSM? What is? I've never heard of MSM. What is this?
Yeah. Oh, you got to look it up. You'll find it on Amazon. Happy Body has it. It's not expensive. It's you take it in water.
Okay.
And it has multiple other health benefits. I don't market it or sell it or anything like that. I just use it personally, because you can find it anywhere. Opti MSM, they've got organic MSM. It's the same thing.
Right.
It's just selling it for more money.
Well, okay. Well, Ian, I got to ask, you have been doing this for quite some time. How'd you get into all of this?
Well, I got into it by default without really realizing I was going to be even in the business in this category, when I had some severe health problems, and they were very life-threatening, but only life-threatening if you go the medical route. And I didn't see, what got me was this. My uncles, when I was 20 years old, my mom's two brothers, the only two brothers she had, they were younger than her. They died at 51 and 54 years old, both of cancer. One had liver cancer, one had thyroid cancer. One took a year to die, doing all the treatments, surgeries, chemo, radiation, everything. And he died looking like a skeleton. My other uncle, Don, he did not go through all that terrible torture. He died within 3 months of diagnosis. He was so full of cancer, they told him, they opened him up, they sewed him up, they said, get your affairs in order. And so both of them were given instructions from their doctor that they were going to die. Here's what you have to do before you die. My one uncle was told, if you don't do this right away, you're going to die right away. So he suffered for a year with all this nightmare surgeries and radiations and stuff, chemo. But anyway, they both died. And they both died at the hands of the doctors. And I'm not against doctors. I just think that they're very limited sometimes in their understanding. And they mean well, but they're indoctrinated. That's why they're called doctors. And they are believing what they're telling the person to do is the right thing. And they're paid very well to do so. And now it was suddenly my turn at 46 years old. I had a big tumor growing between my legs, which was up against my prostate. It wasn't attached to the prostate, but it was against there. So right around all my male plumbing, it was attached to the colon. And I was like, what is that doing there? Where did that come from? Oh, no big deal. Just cut it out. We cut those out all the time. I go, yeah, okay. So why do I have it? And I started asking questions. Why do I have this? I did not want to take any of the treatments that they offered because it was very similar to what my uncles faced back then. Only one was much more extreme. I looked like the more extreme version of my uncles, my Uncle Don. And my brother was a medical doctor for 30 years. I called him. He was 9 years older than me. So at that time, he had been a doctor for around, I think it was maybe 25 years. And he told me, I've had thousands of patients come through my clinic. 11 doctors work for me. I've seen it all. Every walk of life is all, genetic predisposition. You are what you are. You look like Uncle Don. Just face the facts and go do what the doctors tell you and don't mess around. And I said, well, hold it. Like, what about, like, is it nothing I'm doing? He goes, no, it's nothing you're doing. I said, nothing I'm eating. No. And plus I had heart disease, and I didn't know at that time yet, but my liver malfunction was off the charts. It was so bad. And anyway, so I didn't like anything anybody was telling me, and I didn't like the fact that I didn't know anything and nobody could answer my questions. So what I did is I assumed that I was the problem. And people told me, do not do that. You're going to stress yourself out and create a worse condition by anxiety hormones and all that other stuff. I said, but I think it is me. I'm not trying to blame myself. I just think it's me. That's the problem. It's what I don't know. And it seems like what I know is killing me because now I'm dying. This doesn't make any sense. And it's very humiliating to die when you're young, when you have a young family. It's like, what's up? So anyway, I was very fortunate to wake up one morning and realize, and this is just a simple reality that anybody can come up with. There are people on this earth who know exactly how to support the body's ability to heal itself naturally. But I didn't know who they were, where they were, how to find them. But I just knew, I just had this knowing thing in my gut that of course they exist. They have to. Why wouldn't it? And there's got to be the best of them too. There's going to be, good, great, greater, and greatest. And what I wanted to do was find them, but you can't find them. It's not possible because you don't have enough time or resources to find them. You have to be led to them. You have to be directed. And I knew that. And I also knew that the world's very confusing. For me to try to discern who's telling the truth and who's not, I didn't have really any data points to discern with. I just was like, they got to look good. They got to sound good. They got to be, intelligent. They got to be on the ground, no flighty stuff. And I made a request to be led to them. It was a spiritual, deep level request. and I committed to the fact that I would do whatever it took. If I was told to do something or shown something that sounded correct, I would do it. Didn't matter how much, time and money and energy and suffering it would cost, how much joy and fun or whatever it would cost, that would be fine. I was just committed to doing whatever it took, And that that led me into a very interesting journey. It did not happen quickly. It was very slow motion. And at that time, I had 36 months to deal with before my body would be taken out. Because if I didn't do anything, I had about 36 months. This was an aggressive situation. If I did what the doctor said, I had no idea. And I didn't want the damage to my body from what they were offering. And I just slowly but surely started meeting some people. And the first thing I learned about was, hey, you better clean up the food you're eating. You're eating garbage, buddy. You're toxic.
Or are you eating?
I was just eating just regular junk food. Nothing was organic. I was eating whatever was put in front of me. If I was in a hurry, I went to any fast food place that there was. And what I didn't know is I had become addicted to that kind of food. Because as soon as I tried to stop it, my body would freak out.
Interesting.
I was like, well, whoa, what's that? Right? Because I never tried to stop it before. Because I didn't know I had to stop it. I was just doing what everybody else is doing. But all the chemicals and all the crap that's in the food, it messes with you. And it's designed around making you addicted to it. All the brands. Yeah. Well, anyway, there was this big battle between me and my body at that time where I had to tell my body, you're like a rotten, spoiled, temper tantrum child. You're so spoiled and you're so bad and so wrong. You're doing everything, you want to do everything wrong. That's not good for you with all this food stuff. And I wasn't into alcohol. I wasn't into drink. Like I didn't drink. I didn't do drugs. I didn't smoke. I stopped all that when I was 21 years old. So I knew that wasn't the problem. because that's pretty toxic stuff. Right. Anyway, it was just a slow motion. And I in that first 36 months, I did enough cleaning out of my system, enough repair that it looked like I had about 5 years runway. I still had problems. I was still measuring very badly with my liver. I still had the tumor. I still had some symptoms of heart disease after the 36 months. And it took 7 years to have my body just dissolve the tumor out of me, ultimately. Wow. In the end, and which was so cool, right? But it just did it. I don't know exactly the mechanisms. I don't have any claim that I can tell people how to dissolve their tumors. But my heart disease symptoms went away within 5 years, the first 5 years. The liver cleaned up by 2009, because it started in 2004. November 2009, my liver numbers were right bang on. So I was like, okay, good. So I'm pretty good. Let's see how far we can take it. So if we're going to get healthy, let's get super healthy.
Absolutely.
So, and then, yeah, I mean, how old are you right now?
22.
John? You're at a perfect age.
Thank you.
If I could go back to 22 and know what I know now, wow, what a difference that would make.
I mean,
because I knew nothing and was going to expire before 50.
Yeah.
So, and then along this journey, and it's been almost 20 years of this, because we just passed the 19 point in March of this year, I have met many, many very amazing people who have dedicated their whole life to learning about different parts of the body, whether it's brain health or endocrine system, digestive, respiratory, circulatory, and so on, structural health and those things. And what shocked me is that a bunch of them have died already. And I was like, some of them died, one of them died in their 50s, one of them died right at 70 years old. And these were people who are wealth of knowledge, like, wow. And it's like, what is going on? How did that happen? It wasn't some conspiracy where some government took them out. They weren't high profile people at all.
Right.
They died of real things, real problems. And it didn't make sense to me. I thought, well, what? Okay, that's crazy. So I started doing analytics. And I was also becoming this wealth of knowledge, because I was learning from all these people. It's like standing on the shoulders of giants. They spent their whole life, and I absorbed all the most important information from them. So like, okay, and then they died, right? So I started looking at the population in general, and people live an average of about 74 to 79 years now. Somewhere's in that window. And that's just regular population. When you go into the health conscious community, it's around 81 to 85 years. If you go to the blue zones, it's around 83 years right now, of whether it's health conscious or not, around 83 years. And, there's more people live till 100 in the health conscious community than normally. More people live till 100 in the blue zones. So what? It doesn't matter. That's not exciting. They still died. And when you think about your body right now, your body's not anywhere as close to dying right now, right? Like the end of your life is way out there somewhere.
I hope.
Yeah. Well, and depending, unless you die of an accident, right. But there's only a 5% chance of that. It's a very, very low chance. 95% chance you're never going to die in an accident. But nonetheless, the end of your life is way out there somewhere. You don't really know what day that is. So what you're doing now going forward is either going to move that day away from you even further away, or it's going to start to draw it closer to you, or it's going to keep it right where it is. Now, so there's three options. Have it move closer to you, which you don't want. Have it stay where it is already. That's not so exciting. But learning how to make it move away from you is very exciting. Right. And so you have to have certain specific knowledge on how to do that.
Right.
And I knew that a healthy body can't die unless it's in an accident. So a healthy body can't die. The only reason they say people died of they lived so long, they died of old age. No, they died of a health problem. It built up enough for their body to die. Their heart stopped pumping, they stopped breathing, and they died. Okay. A healthy body doesn't do that. It just doesn't. And so we're in the health space. I'm supposed to be this health expert. Well, I'm not a health expert, as it turns out. Experts are people who use previous data points, and they are telling you their theories on what that all means. Or you have a guru where people are just blindly following them. Well, tell me whatever you tell me, I believe, Okay, you got that. And, and then you have the sages. A sage is somebody who has absorbed wisdom and they just get it, and they're going to share it with you, and they're not going to mess with you, right? They're going to tell you what they've actually experienced and experiencing right now, what is present tense. So you want to have access to that kind of information. Well, I knew I didn't know and this is a cool thing. I found out that even after learning all this stuff from all these people, not only did I not know, they didn't know what was killing them because they died. First of all, you have to know what's killing you before you can do something about it. If you don't know the thing that's killing you and you're doing all these other things thinking that's killing you, then you still die. And that's the problem.
Interesting.
So after looking at all the analytics, then I just stood back and kept moving back away from the numbers to see what they were. Like, what do you do, John, every day more than anything? What is the one activity you have that is more than anything else you do? Can you think of it?
Gosh. The activity that consumes my day, I mean, besides...
Well, no, something you do with your body, something your body does. I'll be more specific. What does your body do more than anything else
breathe.
all day? And the hint is your brain.
My brain, think.
Mm-hmm. You have quadrillions of thoughts every millisecond.
It's horrible.
It's great, right? Yeah, because 80,000 thoughts to touch the index finger to your thumb, just once. 80,000 thoughts. So you can imagine we're in a conversation, or we're sitting, we're paying attention. We've got a bazillion things going on in the background that are all automatic. So you think more than anything. So your thinking needs to be clear, critical thinking. You need to have clear flow communications in your body. So that's the thing you do the most of. What's the second thing you do the most of? It involves your lungs.
Breathe.
Right. So do you know how many liters of air you breathe a day?
No. What is it?
So a liter is like a quart of air.
Okay.
And an adult human our size breathes 11,000 liters a day.
Jeez.
Every day. Yeah. So the difference between you and me is you're 22, I'm 65. So 65 minus 22, well, we already know what that is, but we'll multiply that times 365 times 11,000. I have breathed 172.6 million liters more than you.
That's OG right there.
Yep. And that's a big problem. That is a very big problem.
Okay.
Because every breath you take in, you're bringing in nanoparticulate particles, right? Nanoparticles. They call it particulate matter. And it's made up of tires that wear out. There's 10 billion pounds of rubber dust released from tires every year in the United States alone. And the tires and they're nano. You don't see any rubber on the road anywhere. It's all coming off the tires at 70 miles an hour, shooting up at a mile and a half above all the highways because of the Venturi effect. It's all measured. And based on the tire sales, it's 10 billion pounds a year. We're not eating rubber. We're breathing it. And it's rubber, cotton, epoxies, resins, plastics, chemicals, and metals. That's what tires are made of.
Jeez.
And we're breathing it. Massive problem. Yeah. You ever seen brake dust on the rims of vehicles in California?
What's that?
Brake dust is, you get your calipers and your brake pads. They wear out every 40,000, 50,000 miles. They completely wear out. They're made of metal.
Right.
And they create nanoparticles off of them. Now you're breathing that.
Okay.
And it's not on the ground anywhere. It builds up like a mist on the rim of the vehicle on your car. But in California, you see it all the time because people don't wash their car off and down there because it's nice weather.
Yeah. Okay. So when I'm in public and I smell this rubber coming from God knows where, and the asphalt is being updated on a certain street, and then all of a sudden you see weird clouds in the sky, you're telling me there's a bunch of nasty stuff in nanoparticle form that we're breathing in on a daily basis.
Yeah, there's an infinite amount. That's how much there is. Infinite. You could never, ever find the amount of volume. It is that high. And that's just two things. And now they're cremating all the bodies. So 85% of human bodies who die get cremated. Same with the animals on the highway. The animals that are killed on the highway every day are taken and cremated.
Okay.
You're not supposed to do that. You're supposed to compost them. Burying them just puts it all on the water table. Burning the body releases all the nanoparticulate accumulation that was in that body that caused it to die. It goes right out the stack. And if you go on Google and type in crematoriums and funeral homes, they're in your neighborhoods. So you're breathing that
I've
too.
never
That's
thought
just
of
three
that.
things.
Wow.
Right. It's
So you're
totally
telling me
crazy.
the disease that accompanied them is now just up in the sky, ready for us to. Geez.
Yeah. Well, the thing that caused their disease was nanoparticulate, the particulate matter that got into their body,
Okay.
nanoparticles. It built up enough until they died. And now we're breathing all the excess. You're never supposed to burn those bodies. That's whoever thought of that one was definitely against the human race. It's all part of the death cult. Okay, so we've only talked about three things. Did you know that there's more than 1,000 things released into the air that we don't have time to talk about? But I gave you the three big ones. Right. So what the point is this. When you breathe air in, you are breathing that stuff in, whether you like it or not. Whether you're sitting in your house, in your car, outside on a mountain, it doesn't matter. You're breathing it. It's everywhere because it goes all over the world and it covers everywhere. The world's so big that it just spreads out. The 10 billion pounds a year doesn't show up in big piles, but it shows up in billions of people's lungs. We're like the filter because you're breathing 11,000 liters a day.
Right.
Dude, I mean, what's with that, right? Okay. Your lungs, if you took your lungs, they've done this. They've taken lungs apart, human lungs, they've spread it out. 260 square kilometers or 100 square miles of surface area is a set of lungs, two lungs.
Insane.
Because when you breathe in, it's instantaneously connecting everything that's in the air you breathe into your bloodstream. The membranes in your lungs have this way of getting it in instantly. Now, if you stop breathing right now, how long could you hold your breath for without passing out?
3 minutes tops.
Right. And your body will force you to start breathing before you pass out.
3 minutes if I'm doing some serious breath work, right? But if right now it'd probably be less than a minute, you know?
Right, exactly. Yeah, you'd have to prep for the 3 minutes. Now, so if you stop breathing for 10 minutes, what kind of shape are you going to be
on the floor, curled up?
Yeah, you're down hard. You're out actually. Now, so what carries all the stuff from your lungs into your bloodstream? Well, your blood comes through there instantly to the blood. So your cardiovascular system, you've got 10,000 kilometers or 6,500 miles of cardiovascular tubing. And that's arteries, veins, and capillaries. So that's going to carry it all to every cell. And it goes 24/7, your whole entire life, 86,500 heartbeats a day. You have around 5 quarts of blood in your body. And that entire volume will go through your entire body in 1 minute. Every minute it goes through your entire body. If your heart stops, you're passed out in 8 seconds approximately. That's how long until you lose consciousness. 8 seconds if your heart stops. If you're down for more than 8 minutes, you're dead. All right. So that's just clear statistical numbers. The reason I'm talking about this because the blood is continuously moving all that nanoparticulate with all the oxygen nutrients from the air and the nutrients from the food you're digesting to every cell in your body 24 hours a day, every minute. The entire volume of your blood is getting to your entire body. So bringing all that garbage in starts to pile up. So if you take a 20-year-old right now and measure their kidney function, they call that 100% kidney function.
Absolutely.
Kidneys are awesome. Let's move them 40 years down the road till 60. They've now breathed 160 million liters of air, more than a 20-year-old, right? They are running at 35% kidney function compared to the 20-year-old. Interesting. But that's supposed to be normal. I'd like to know what's normal about that.
I could not tell you.
Right. There's nothing normal about that. So the liver and the kidneys filter the blood and they filter the lymph, and like the kidneys filter the lymph. So all these filters that you got in your body are designed to keep your blood clean, but they can't because you're breathing so much crap, more than what they can keep up with. You start to plug up. That's why the kidneys go to 35% in 40 short years. So that's pretty dumb.
Right.
Therefore, we have a massive problem that guarantees death at the average rate, health conscious or not, unless you find out the key that you need in order to get the problem fixed. So once you fix the problem and the problem goes away, all the symptoms, cancer, heart attacks, strokes, whatever, aneurysms, etc., dementia, Alzheimer's, all that goes away once you find out how to remove the problem. And you got to use your body's system to remove the problem. Your body system's causing the problem because you're exposed to all this nanoparticulate garbage, which is killing you. And therefore, if the blood is carrying it in, the blood has to be able to carry it out, but it can't because the filters get plugged. Right? This is all common sense, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So your 5 liters of blood gets dirtier and dirtier and dirtier. Your cells get more covered with all this stuff, more and more and more until you're dead. So you have to be able to get your body to produce clean blood. Most people don't realize your body is a blood production facility. It's very efficient, but it can't produce clean blood because you're not giving it the raw materials to do it. Just like any production facility, you got to go to a tire manufacturing facility. If the rubber stops coming in the trucks to the intake door, they're out of production in about a week,
Right.
Because they ran out of raw material. Same with your body. If you don't have the raw materials going in every single day, which is in this form here, where I'm drinking, it's not water. Water is the worst thing you could drink.
Ian, what are you drinking then?
I am drinking electrolytic fluid that I make every day and drink all day.
Is this different from the salt water that you were drinking for that 36-hour fast?
No, this is the salt water. That's electrolytic fluid. You are a saltwater being. You are an ocean walking around on this earth. If you cry a tear, what does it taste like?
Salt.
Super salty, right? It's like, whoa. If you get sweat coming into your eyes, it stings like crazy. It's so salty. If you taste your sweat, it's super salty.
Right.
You are a salt being.
Absolutely.
And you're born with that. And then you're needing the raw materials to come into your system to provide more of the electrolytes. If you sweat a whole bunch and drink a whole bunch of water, you could die because you've diluted your electrolytes so heavily that you need electrolytes to stay alive because you're an electrical being as well. You're also a biophoton being. So you're running on biophotons, which are communication, biophotons, electrons, right? So electrolyte, you're lit up. And these are concentrated sea minerals that are unrefined and certified pure. They have to be in liquid form. You can't just put sea minerals in your food and then expect anything. Now, what about the minerals that you get in the food you're eating? Shouldn't that be enough?
Absolutely not. Do you know what's so interesting? I was just looking into magnesium and its biophotonic potential. So this story has been incredible because we initially started with basically the commonalities of aging between people. Some people die at 75, 79. If you're a bit healthier, you're at 83. If you're really healthy, I guess in the blue zone, you died 85, which is, I would even consider that healthy of an age to die. Now, what's one thing we all deal with? This toxic load, right? All these nanoparticles that are in the air from the rubber and the arsol and the chemtrails and all this stuff. And
Right.
our filtration is so backed up because we have all these toxins that are coming from the foods, the air, what you were discussing. In order to help our bodies, we need to access our innate healing capabilities. And that's what we're on right now. And now we're talking about electrolytic fluid. I mean, Ian, we're blowing minds here. What is that? What does that mean?
So it just means that we are now, instead of drinking water or fluids that don't have electrolytes properly in them, and they have to be the original electrolytes, not some manufactured stuff. There's a big trend right now for LMNT and all these companies putting electrolytes in the market. They're all very pricey. They're not even getting close to enough, and they're not getting anywhere near the original electrolytes that the body actually requires.
Why are electrolytes important? Sorry to cut you off. Why are they important for the first part?
Well, without them, you die, and you can't produce blood.
Interesting.
You cannot produce clean blood. You have to produce a volume of clean blood. The more nanoparticular garbage that you're subjected to, the more blood you have to produce. Because when you produce clean blood, the clean blood allows your body to dump the dirty blood that's already there that can't get cleaned by your liver and your kidneys. The clean blood then goes in and begins to clean out and support the liver and kidneys because your body's producing clean blood. Liver and kidneys are only supposed to keep blood clean. They're not supposed to get plugged up.
Right.
They're designed to keep blood clean, and that's it. When you keep breathing all this crap in this totally low-tech age we're living in, where everybody's driving around in these vehicles like it's ridiculous, and then the battery-powered vehicles are 10,000 times worse. They're heavier. They have a motor on every wheel. They make the tires wear out almost twice as fast as a normal tire. Oh, joy. So now we're wearing out more tires. And they're talking about CO2. Guys, really? You got these toxic pieces of crap battery-powered cars. The gasoline and diesel-powered ones are way, way, way superior, and they're low-tech.
Interesting.
The battery-powers are the worst in the world, right? So you get all this stuff going on, and people think they're doing the conscious thing and they're supporting the planet, right? No, they're not. They're harming the earth heavily with all the mining operations for lithium batteries to you name it. It's a whole nother subject. But the point what I'm getting to, the most important thing for you and me is you need to know why you have to have the raw material, because you have to produce clean blood, because the blood's going to clean out all the crap that you've been breathing for 22 years. And I didn't know the number, the actual formula of this until I was 64 years old.
Wow.
I've been drinking sea minerals all along, but not even close to enough, because the body requires an X amount to be able to really flourish and produce the clean blood and keep your system going. So that now I'm at a state now, a year later, I'm a year into drinking this electrolytic fluid that I make, the salt water, from unrefined sea minerals. Can't come from any other place. All the mineral waters don't work because that's just dissolved rock. This is actually the minerals that came from the soil that was originally there that the plants absorbed because it kept raining distilled water for tens of thousands of years. And that distilled water is a hungry solvent. It washed all the minerals away thousands of years ago. Been gone for thousands of years. You know, there's people used to live over 900 years because they had higher pressure in the atmosphere with more oxygen, had all the minerals in the food. They didn't have all this ridiculous, insane, low-tech stuff. They had way better ways of transportation.
Did you say 900 years, Ian?
Over 900
People
years.
have lived over...
Yeah, the longest recorded was
960? Who was that?
Methuselah.
Methuselah.
His name was Methuselah. Yeah.
Interesting.
You can look him up.
Okay.
And these are not mythical characters. These are real things. And then people, they were down to 600, then 400, then 200, then 120, and now today it's like called 70.
Yeah.
So if you go past 70, you're on borrowed time. This is the mentality that we're dealing with here. It's a death culture. A healthy body can't die. It just keeps living. Now, eventually, because you're in a finite mortal body, it will eventually expire. But it shouldn't be expiring for hundreds of years. And as soon as people hear me say that, I go, you're totally nuts. Click away. The guy just said we're going to live for hundreds of years. Really? Why would you click away? That should intrigue you. I didn't harm you by telling you that, did I?
No.
Right? But I would be ridiculed like that.
Interesting. Even in the back of my mind, I was saying BS. In that
Right.
I believe it, but my program, you could say, doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
And I had that written down, this concept of death culture. Can you shortly go into it a bit more and explain how we can protect ourselves from this death culture?
Right. Yeah. You opt out and subscribe into the living culture, which is, instead of believing the lie that everyone believes and everybody fulfills, because you're going to fulfill whatever you believe. The lie is this: the older you get, the weaker you should become, the more susceptible to disease, and the closer to your funeral. That's the lie. Okay. So, and that you should expect to start noticing problems starting around 25 to 30 years old. And you'll notice more and more problems in your 30s, and even more in your 40s, and even more in your 50s, and so on. And then by the time you're like 60, wow, you're getting old, man. And, you know, and the bottom's, when you turn 70, the frickin' bottom falls out. Be thankful you're alive, you know? And up in Canada here, they have this euthanasia thing. You can opt out and just go in and you're dead in like 20 minutes or something. Jeez. They just inject you and you're out of here. So that's called a massive cultural thing based upon programming. And it doesn't apply to anything else. Like if you became a pianist, right? And you started learning how to play the piano right now. You're going to start as a beginner, you're going to go intermediate and advanced, and then you're going to become a pro, and you can even become a concert pianist. The longer you practice, the better you get, right? Stands to reason. You're going to get better and better, even if you don't have a super gift. If you're gifted, you're going to get better even faster. But if you don't have a gift for piano, that's fine. You can still learn how to play it. Maybe your gift is in something else, but you're going to get better. And so when you start to learn how to support your body's ability to be healthy, you get better as you get older. And what are the key indicators? What are the key performance indicators? I'm smarter than I was yesterday. I'm more flexible. I'm more mobile. I'm more agile. I'm stronger. I'm more powerful, right? I have a better digestive system. I have more energy. I have better sleep. I have greater value I'm putting out in the world. I've got more wisdom. I'm feeling better. I'm looking better, right? I look like I'm 65 years old, but I'm a very youthful 65-year-old. But I look 65 because I'm 65, right?
Right.
It's just the way it is. Yeah, and when you're here and you're out in the weather and you're going to get hit with all the stuff. I'm a 65-year-old. So what? That's young. I am just getting started. It took me 64 years to finally get to the three keys that I needed to go, oh, wow, I was missing all that stuff. Oh, interesting. Let's see what happens when I do this all together. And everything radically changed in the last year.
Wow.
And I was considered the healthiest 64-year-old on earth at that point. And I was just getting started. Healthier compared to what? Compared to the death culture? What are we comparing ourselves to? Compare yourself to yourself. So right now you're coming into your prime. Your prime is 25. And your prefrontal cortex will be fully matured at 25 years old. Right now you're almost there, but you're not quite there. So that affects all kinds of other things in your system. That's why rental car companies will not rent to people under 25. There's a scientific thing, prefrontal cortex. Everybody needs to learn about that. So therefore, everyone like when you're past 25, you have to have a different level of respect and patience for people before they're 25. It's not their fault. They're going to have certain behaviors. That's just the way it is. You have patience with them. They haven't got the fully developed prefrontal cortex. So anyway, it's like but the older you get, the better you should become. And I'm watching all these guys getting worse and dying. I'm like, what's up? Like an athlete, they have a short career because they're pounding the crap out of their body. Hockey players or basketball players, or you take women's figure skating, they're retiring at 18, a lot of them, because they don't have the keys to know how to get all the garbage out of your system. So who put the most garbage in your system besides you?
Phew. The media, I would say.
No, we're talking physical stuff. Physical garbage.
Who put in my physical garbage?
There's one person who had no choice about building your body with all her garbage.
Oh, who had no choice. Fuck.
That's
Inner
right.
child.
Your mom.
My inner me.
Your mom. No, your mom.
My mom.
Your mom had no choice because she was given. So generationally, as you get all this nanoparticulate garbage building up in the human body, it gets worse and worse and worse as time goes on. So great-great-great-grandmother all the way through to great-grandmother, all the way through to grandmother, all the way through your mom. Your mom got her body formed in the womb of her mom and filled with all the nano crap out of the gate. And then she gave everything to you.
This is an epigenetic inheritance.
It is. There's nothing you can do about it. Nothing she can do about it. But if your mom had known the truth about how to support her body's ability to heal itself, and she had done the work for a year before she got pregnant with you, you would have none of that in your body. So when you come out of the womb, you're already loaded up. And then you keep breathing and eating and drinking. It's not the food and the liquid you're drinking. It's the air, because it's a million times more.
Wow.
Try to drink 11,000 liters of water a day. Not happening, right?
Wow.
But you're breathing 11,000 liters of air. So your mom did the same thing. It's not her fault. We're not blaming your mom or anything. We're looking at a circumstance that we have to deal with. And you got to get the stuff out of your system. So the body wears out because these are abrasives. They're nanoparticulate abrasives, and they build up within the body, causing roughness. That's why people get hips and knee replacements all the time, because their body's wearing out, because they breathe all this crap in, and it's not human. It's unhuman stuff, and it wears you out. So a pro ball pitcher who pitches 100 miles an hour, he's got like a 9 or 10 year career because he wears his shoulder out. because he's putting so much stress on his shoulder. If he knew the keys, he would never wear his shoulder out. It would never wear out. He could pitch 100 miles an hour for 50, 60 years. It's not going to matter. That's how it works. That's what I've learned about. So you use the electrolytic fluid to produce clean blood to wash your system from the inside out. And then you use an external percussion method that you use either your hands or a little thing that we call the activator. And I'm doing a course on this right now. I haven't finished yet. Right. And that you get all the stuff from the outside in, you remove it and you can visibly see it.
Ian, before you continue, I am wondering, and probably some people too, you just found out about this electrolytic fluid. What did you do? Yeah. Well, maybe a year ago, or when you said you were 64. What did you do to heal that tumor?
Oh, to get rid of the tumor? Well, my body had deleted it. I just started doing detoxes, and what happened
love it, deleted
is it was growing.
That's great.
Well, no, it did really, but it was growing. Like the doctor said, if you don't cut it out, it's going to grow and kill you. Well, it started to grow, and I was warned it was going to get hard. It did. It had 2 satellites that came off it, because the main portion of the tumor was about the size of maybe half of your fist, right? Which is big in that area because there's no room down there. And then it grew out a tumor, like a satellite came out, which you could feel the cords connecting these stupid things. One went into the scrotum, one went into the rectum.
Oh, shit.
And it would pulse like if I was sitting here and had it, every heartbeat, I would feel every heartbeat.
So this thing was on your perineum, basically?
Yeah.
God, that's
exactly. Tough. Yeah. And it did, but thankfully that's where it was, because I wouldn't allow them to do surgery. I might have considered surgery if it wasn't near my male plumbing. But I was so worried about sexual function and male plumbing at that age that I couldn't even stand the thought of them going with a scalpel in there. And to them, it's no big deal. They do 1,000 years. They think, well, what's it do? No big deal. What are you worried about? Anyway, so what happened is I started doing the detoxes. I started eating clean. I started drinking juices and things like that. And the thing got bigger and bigger. And then it would get harder, and then it started to go soft over like, this is like a 7-year span, right? And then it by 2009, which was 5 years into this, it shrunk down to kind of a hardened thing, and then it just stayed there. So I could still feel the 3 things in the tubes, whatever that thing was in between them. You feel it when I have a shower. It was like still, you could feel through the skin that it was there.
Crazy.
Anyway, so, and it stayed like that from 2009 to the spring of 2010. In the spring of 2010, a guy told me about a product that you can't buy in the market for consumable. There's not a health product you can buy like this. But he said, if you go to a company called Pure Bioscience, they're down in El Cajon, California, and they have these jugs. They're 1 gallon jugs, and they have these little spray bottles. And it's called, what do they call that? Now, at the time it was IV10, or IV7. It was called IV7, and that was for the silver number. Now they call it. You'd have to look it up.
What is this colloidal silver you're referring to?
No, it's not colloidal. It's silver dihydrogen citrate.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, and it's a pico-sized silver ion. So like micron is microscopic, nano is 1,000 times smaller, pico is 1,000 times smaller than that.
Jeez.
So they figured out a technology to put a pico-sized silver ion with a citric acid molecule. So it's really simple. It's not expensive at all. It was like $25 for a big jug. And so anyways, they said, just put it in a little spray bottle and spray 7 sprays in your mouth to help get infections out of your system, even though they weren't selling it for that. Right? This guy just kind of privately told me that. I went, okay, I'll try that. I wasn't thinking about my tumor. I thought that I was going to have that for the rest of my life because it had shrunk down. It wasn't hurting anymore. I didn't feel the heartbeats. Like the heartbeats went away, which is very interesting. And then, but anyways, I took the silver dihydrogen citrate, and the next morning when I woke up to have a shower, I noticed it was a bit puffy down there. Not much, but a little bit. And so I thought maybe it was that thing that I sprayed in my mouth. And I did that for 14 days. And by the 14th day, it had grown up to about this size. It was so filled up, like it was like a balloon had expanded inside my body. I had to literally wear loose jeans and waddle around. It was that bad. and it hurt. It was a weird pain. It was sort of like a sharp pain if I moved a certain way. And I wasn't worried about it. I just thought, I don't know what's going on. I don't know why it's doing that. But anyway, and then around the 15th day, because I didn't keep exact count, but around 2 weeks in, I woke up in the morning to have a shower, and I'd sprayed the night before, and it just shrunk down. It was like gone back to its original hard size. And I thought, okay, that's weird. So it drained or whatever it did, because it hadn't grown hard. It was puffy like like a softball or like a football. So then I kept spraying the stuff, but then nothing happened after that. So I stopped. I stopped consuming the silver dihydrogen citrate. And then about a year and a half, not even a year and a half, about a year after that in 2011, I just noticed one day that it was gone, that it just dissolved. It was just left my body.
Ian, how did you go about every day knowing you have this life-threatening tumor basically in you and didn't want to seek, I guess, allopathic medicine, or, you just had faith? How did you do that?
Well, I didn't. Well, the problem was I didn't trust the doctors. And I would ask them why I have what I have. They couldn't tell me. So I didn't like their diagnosis. I didn't like their treatment. I didn't like the prognosis. Yeah. So my attitude was, I would rather die at my own hands if I'm going to do it. And I wanted to learn and understand, because dying at their hands would suck, right? The courageous battle with cancer, and then you die. Well, I didn't have cancer. They want to call it cancer. It's not cancer. It wasn't cancer. I'm not a cancer survivor at all. I had this big tumor growing in my body. What it turned out to be is a whole bunch of fungal infections, heavy metal poisoning. I was full of heavy metal. Oh. I had yeast overgrowth, like candida, blowing out like crazy level. And I also had chemical overload, because I worked in the oil field for 17 years.
I saw your LinkedIn.
In the field.
The school. What did you say about this school? Hold on, I got to pull this up really quick. Activities and societies. Worked nonstop for the entire 17 years. Became a genuine oil field expert. Activities and societies. The Gravel Pit Dun Buggy Crew. What is that?
I was into all kinds of fun vehicles.
Extremely poor education systems. Grading system is low vibed. Achieve high grades in a substandard system. ... Anyways, I thought that was hilarious. But wow, you accumulated... That tumor was from everything you've been talking about. All these toxins and the food. Holy cow. I never knew a tumor could grow like that.
It was there to save me. It was actually there to save me. Because after I cleaned up completely at that time, it disappeared. It dissolved itself out of my body. So it was like, I guess you don't need me anymore.
Canary in the coal mine.
Yeah.
Okay, so where do we go from here? Because we were talking about the keys. We need the keys now.
Right.
We hear what's going on in our society. It's messed up. Our minds are messed up. Our bodies are messed up. And the connection that should be connecting it is far from between. So what are the keys, Ian? How do we get there? Now, we don't have all the keys, but how do we start?
Well, we have the keys.
Oh, we have the keys.
So, yeah, we do have the keys. And it's my job to give everyone the keys, and they don't need me. Once I give you the keys, you don't need me. Everybody wants you to need them to control you, right? I've got information. I'll give it to you if I feel like it. It's like the world. The educational system will teach everything you don't need to know, so you don't find out what you really need.
I know geometry.
Yeah. Well, you know about Mandelbrot?
No, what is that?
Oh man, you're gonna love if you love geometry. Do you love geometry?
No, I was kidding, and that's what I picked up from middle school, right? Oh. That's what they taught me.
Okay. Well, anyways, you'll instantly learn about geometry as soon as you find out about Benoit Mandelbrot. Everyone from 1980 onwards should have been taught this in school, bar none. That's when it was discovered, and they call it the Mandelbrot set, named after him because he's the first one to discover it. And it's a fascinating thing. It's what we're made of. But anyway, that's a whole other story.
Next time.
So going back to the keys. So I was handed the first key 17 years ago, but I didn't know that it was the key. But it was given to me. It was in the form of a thing called Oceans Alive. And I could only think of calling it Oceans Alive because it came from the ocean. It's marine phytoplankton stabilized in 100 times concentrated unrefined sea minerals in a liquid. And you take any fresh substance, put it at 30%, 70%, it stabilizes it instantly. And then I started taking it, and it felt like my battery was charging up. That's all I could tell people. And so they took it and they said, "Dad, that's kind of like what I feel too. Like you get mental energy, you get physical energy, but there's no stimulants in it. There's no caffeine, nothing weird. It's all heirloom strains of marine phytoplankton in this 100 times strength ocean water. So it is strong, and it's like you got to kind of be a bit of a hacker to be able to take it, you know." But it started a company in our basement without me knowing it was even going to start. People said, "Where do I get this stuff?" You know, I said, "Well, I can get it for you." And so they started ordering. These guys would order 1,000 bottles at a time to sell to their groups down in California. It was just California only. And we did 2.8 million in sales in the first 24 months out of our basement in Toronto.
Dude.
Just by like flying it in from Europe. We had to buy it from Europe. So we had to ship the raw material from the ocean from Australia to Europe, have them blend the marine phytoplankton they produce in Europe, and then ship that to Canada by FedEx. We would get these 4 totes at a time, 20 liters each, and we'd fill these little 1 ounce bottles of dropper bottles, and we would send them down through Canada Post to the States. And all this money came in from that. We only got 1/3 of the money because they were selling it at $60 and we were selling it to them for $20. I didn't know anything about business in the supplement world or whatever. I just thought that's just what it is. Okay, fine. They're selling for $60. Do whatever you want. You know, people were loving it, and they love it to this day. That blew up into a real company that we generated around $90 million of money that we've reinvested back in since then. And so with that money, which is not a lot of money, it sounds like a lot, but it's not, because when it comes in, it has to go back out
$90
again.
million.
$90 million.
Holy cow.
That's what we generated.
For activation products?
And so, you know, some companies do that in a week.
Jeez.
You know, like, you know, if you take a look at companies, a friend of mine has a company, they do $5 million in sales a day.
I really don't know much. Let's keep it going.
Yeah.
Need the keys.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah, it's a big world, right? So so that then put me on a course where I had the resources to do the research. So the research and development meant the elimination of the things that don't work and the adding of the few things that do. And if the thing worked really well and something worked even better, that had to go away. But what started the whole thing was the thing that has gone full circle, and that was the key that I was handed at the start. I just wasn't taking enough of it. The formula is 5 grams of unrefined sea minerals in liquid form. So you start out, you've got to purify water. You don't want to have anything in the water at all. You add in the unrefined sea minerals, and it instantaneously structures the water, makes it smooth as silk to drink, but it has to be in liquid form because you're a liquid being. You don't have any water in your body. You have electrolytic fluid, like I said earlier. So you drink 1 liter per 50 pounds of body weight. That's the formula. 5 grams in 1 liter of water, 1 liter of the electrolytic fluid per 50 pounds of body weight. So I drink 3 a day, 3 liters a day.
Same.
You know, I'm cruising around 150, 160. And that's perfect. So a woman at 100 is going to drink 2 liters. That's only for the first year. Once the first year has gone by, then you drop back to 2 liters a day. Because you're only like, what you have to do the 3 liters a day or like 1 liter per 50 pounds, because you've got to clean up the mess. You got to give yourself extra raw material to make extra blood. Once you've got the accumulation gone out of your system, which you eliminate it through your bowel movements and through your urine, because all the dirty blood's going to leave there. All the clean blood keeps replacing it. All the dirty lymphatic system dumps into the blood system to clean itself. All the cells dump into the blood system to clean them. Once it's clean, then you just got to get rid of the air you breathe today. Has got to leave today. That's how efficient you become. Instead of finding out at 64 years old, having breathed all that crap, never dealing with it properly, and now I had this mountain to move. So I went through a lot in the last year drinking this salt water.
This is crazy. Do you employ any other detox strategies, sauna, ozone therapy, to aid in this process?
I've done all those.
Okay.
They're all great. They can help out. They're complementary, but they don't do it. I know so many people who did all these other detoxes and they all died right on time,
Wow.
just like
It's you
everybody
know
else
what's
did.
so
Yeah.
crazy about the health scene? This is a broad painted picture, but no matter how many peptides you do or how many nootropics you take and the amount of IVs that you get, you can still be in a compromised health state. And at 22, I'm not going to manifest it, but I was in a compromised health state just a couple weeks ago. I went to the ER room twice for reasons I have no clue of, and I thought I had all the tenets down. But now, after hearing
Mm-hmm.
this conversation, you're right. I was in the city of Dallas, a very toxic environment. I lived on the railroad, right? I
Right.
lived basically on a highway system. Think about all this
Mm.
rubber and the tires. I mean, yeah, the toxic overload was probably insane. So maybe that's why I was in the hospital for a day or two, regardless of whatever I was doing. So this is really interesting, Ian. Thank you for this. Let's keep it going. I mean, that's
Yeah.
crazy.
Well, so everything that comes in has to leave. That's the principle.
Yeah.
It's your responsibility to use the raw materials, to use the keys to get the stuff out of your
Okay.
system. So the only thing that's going to do it is the salt water. There
So
is
we can
nothing
take
else.
in to put out, basically.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You got to produce clean blood. You got to give your body the raw material to produce clean blood. That cleans your whole system up. Then you got to go from the outside in, because all your joints, the cartilage, the connective tissue, the muscles, the fascia, it is jammed with this stuff. That's why people get older as they go and they get stiffer. Instead of more limber, having been alive longer and doing more exercise that keeps them loose, they're tighter, because everything's, and the magnesium deficiency is off the charts as well. It's so bad. Like, people are extremely magnesium deficient. And if you're at a symptomatic level, you're so magnesium deficient, it's not funny. Stage 1 and stage 2 magnesium deficiency has no symptoms. They're there. Your body's sensing it, but you're not sensing it because the alarms have not gone off yet. If you got to wait for the alarms to go off, dude, you're like way down the road. Like me at 46, all the alarms are going off.
Oh,
It's like, what's going on? What do you mean I'm going to be dead in 3 years? Are you kidding?
how is that to hear for the first time?
Oh, I didn't believe it. I didn't believe it at all. And when I look now, once I got through it all, found out what was wrong with me, found out what it took to fix it, and I look back, they were right. They were right. I had about 36 months.
Wow.
Because I just didn't know. The candida overload was so heavy it had blown out of my skin altogether. I had like white crystal skin between my legs. White crystals, is what it looked like fish scales of white.
The candida,
That's like,
how did that start? Do you know now?
that just started by me eating all the wrong stuff, getting super toxic with heavy metals. Heavy metals distract your elimination system. You're not eliminating properly, and it builds up, and then the body goes, "Hello, I'm going to show you something. I am extremely sick right now. And here's the symptom. You like that?
Fuck no.
Liquid leaking out of your butt all day. You have to go to the restroom and wipe your butt from this stinking liquid
Holy cow.
that you can't stop coming
Yeah.
up. Right.
What would you, Ian,
So,
what would you say are the second culprit or um the other villains with heavy metals? Where do they come from?
well, the food, the food, you got to watch the food you eat. There's so much garbage in the food, but we only eat a little bit of food. So people, you got to watch the food. So everybody focuses on the food thinking, I'm going to be good. And then they die. They never thought 1 second about what they're breathing. They never thought 1 second about producing clean blood because they didn't know. They're not stupid people. These are intelligent people. They were just never given the access. The only reason I learned is because I came to the place where I realized I didn't know. I didn't know. You don't know. That guy doesn't know. And that's a humbling thing. So then I was like, okay, well, if I don't know, then there's got to be that knowledge out there somewhere. I don't know where to find it. But if I could be led to it, I would love that, because I'll take action if I'm led in that direction. And so I was shown these things. And then I could tell you all this all day long, John, but until you yourself take the action because it starts out with emotions, right? Emotion means energetic motion. It's not a feeling. Energetic motions drive your feelings drive your thinking drives your behavior, and your behavior delivers the results. That's the process. And then it goes full circle back to your physiological being, because your physiological being is affecting you heavily. good or bad, right? It's affecting you, heavy duty effect. And so you just want to have your physiological being dialed right in. And then it's a full circle. Your results are good. You're getting good physiology. Then it's feeding everything from the ground up. It feeds your emotions, your feeling, your thinking, your behavior, and your results. You get better results. Oh, wow. Goes right back down to the bottom. Your body gets better and better and better. And you get just more thriving. But you got to tap in. So the way you tap in, all you got to do is just start drinking the salt water to start with. We have concentrated sea minerals that are certified and pure. They're super affordable. Nobody's going to get rich selling sea minerals to people. Okay. But it is more valuable than gold. Because if it gives you an extra 10 years and another extra 10 years and another extra 10 years, what's 10 years of life worth when you're 80? It's priceless. But I'm not talking about living longer. I'm talking about healthier today than I was yesterday, healthier tomorrow than I am today. And then you just keep on going. Who wants to live long? And like you type in the longest living people on earth on Google, it is gross, man. Do you want to look like that? Do you want to get so old, you're so shriveled up and so discolored and your eyes are sunken into your head and you're like barely alive and then you die? Is that what you want? I don't think so.
Way.
No. You want to stay alive as long as possible, getting healthier and healthier as you go.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
We got to break this down because in the health scene, everyone's got the one product that does this and does that. And the way you explained, I know, the way you explain these sea minerals is convincing. But why are they so essential, Ian?
Well, they're the only raw material that will work. There is no other raw material. You could take all the supplements you want. Unless you get access to unrefined sea minerals, your body simply can't produce the clean blood. There is no other. They're bioavailable, biocompatible, and bioidentical to your body. There's nothing else out there. That's it. And all the stuff that was originally in the plants that were growing in the earth, that the animals were eating, that we were eating the plants, eating the animals, all that mineral was washed away into the water tables out to the ocean. You got to go to the ocean.
You said water tables. What's water tables?
Well, the water table is what's underneath all the earth. Like if you dig down deep enough, you'll find water, right? Always. So the rain just kept washing down because that's the rain is falling on the earth. It's all distilled water, and it keeps falling on the earth and going into the soil, washing the minerals out. Well, it goes in the water tables. The water tables are connected to the streams. The streams are connected to the rivers. The rivers are connected to the tributaries, and that takes it to the ocean.
Interesting.
So, yeah. So all of our minerals are in the ocean. And when you cry a tear, it's like ocean water. So you're a walking ocean.
And we're not water, which is blowing my mind.
No, you don't have water. That's another big lie. They say, oh, you're 80% water. You got to drink lots of water. You want to die right on time? Just drink lots of water. Because every time you drink water that does not have the electrolytes in it, your body has to give away what it has. Like, wow. Misinformation.
Another great guy.
Salt's really
Ian, sorry to cut you off. James D. Nicolitiliano is a great proponent of maybe not these sea minerals, but he discusses that. He's saying if you're just drinking straight water, you're pissing out all the beneficial minerals and the essential life force that you have.
Yep.
You bring it onto a greater component, which is like the sea minerals are coming straight from the sky to the earth, blending in with the whole life cycle, and then it's going to you. And if we think about it, we're connected to that. So a dissonance of it, a disconnection of it, is going to lead to disease.
Right. Well, people who live near the ocean with all the waves crashing in, that creates mist. It's not evaporating. When the water evaporates, it's distilled water. When you get the mist, it's full of minerals.
Interesting.
So people around along the coast live
okay, really quick.
Healthier lives.
I love this. How should we filter our water these days? Because we need that for the minerals.
Reverse. Now, you want to clean the water right up. Reverse osmosis or distilled. It's now dead water, basically. You can use a grander like this thing here. I found out about this many, many years ago, and I didn't understand it until recently. This is a little grander device. It has no batteries. It lasts a lifetime. And you just drop it into the fluid you're drinking, and it supercharges it, removing all the memory of the water. Water has memory. There's a whole thing around water. It just makes the water perfect. And then you add your electrolytes to it, and then that structures the water. It gives you the silkiest water you've ever,
So it's the minerals
silkiest fluid.
structure it when basically the water H2O molecules clump together and form this more crystalline structure. Is that what you're referring to?
Yeah, it organizes itself because the minerals are the key to everything. They're also the key to your pH balance. So everybody goes, oh, you got to be alkaline. Really? What are you talking about? You have to be alkaline. That's another myth. What a total joke. So I'm going to drink alkaline water. Yeah, that's going to be 9.5 pH. Seriously? My stomach is running at 1.5 pH, everyone. Right? 1.5. That's so acidic.
Yep.
It's like heavy acidic. It's hydrochloric acid. So I'm going to now I'm going to be diluting my hydrochloric acid thinking I'm doing good. No, put the minerals in. That feeds the hydrochloric acid to be the most powerful stomach acid you could ever dream of. I could eat anything I want. I devour it immediately in my stomach. Lots of proteins, lots of fats. It doesn't matter. I don't have a problem anymore. I used to take digestive enzymes.
I take those.
No longer.
You don't take those?
No, I don't need them at all because the chloride minerals give the hydrochloric acid the raw material to make super strong stomach acid. Now your liver is running at 5.8 pH.
Interesting.
Your kidneys are at 5.6. Your skin is at whatever it's at 6 point something. Your blood is always at 7.365. It's never going to change. If it goes off just a little bit, it'll kill you. So your body is super intelligent. And if you are not getting the right amount of minerals, it'll just start leaching it out of your body to make 7.365. These minerals get your body pH exactly where it's supposed to be. Your body intelligence knows where each organ is supposed to be running.
Wow.
You're not going to give yourself alkaline water. What a joke. And alkaline food. I'm going to drink it. You can't get cancer if you're alkaline. Says who? I've seen lots of people get cancer who are alkaline, so-called.
It's common with the whole...
It's ridiculous. Cancer comes from contamination and tumors that form to try to protect you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then it just eats you up. If so the alarms are going off, you're burning down, the house is burning down, you better call the fire department.
Right.
You better make sure they have salt in your water.
So the symptoms are really emergency signals coming from your body saying, hey, we're in a compromised health state. We're trying to protect you, which I really appreciate you saying that because it's so true. Symptoms are signs from the body. Hey, we need help.
Yep.
And we need these materials, huh? I've never thought of minerals being so impactful. I really just think element, a couple elements, get the potassium sodium channel in the cell, and that's about it. But there's a whole life towards it.
Oh man, yeah. It's plasma.
You
got to have all the minerals for the plasma, and they've got to be in the chloride form, in the right form, so they're biocompatible.
Okay, and
it's
wow. So we got these building blocks, right? We're starting to filter out. We're starting to filter out. You have a bunch of other products. Are there things?
Yes.
We can't go through them all because there's so many. We're going to do plenty more. I know it. Do you have time?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You can speed the process up with the products. That's the whole idea.
Okay, so we got these minerals. Now, what else you said? What's part 2 of this?
So part 2 is getting things in your body in the liquid form, because all of our products are liquid primarily. They don't have to be liquid, but they just happen to be. And there's a thing called Solaris. Solaris goes in as clove, rosemary, and thyme. It helps to turn all the heavy metals and microbes and pathogens into inert matter. And then that leaves your body safely. So that's a very major support to your body's ability to clean itself up. But it doesn't produce clean blood. So if you only took Solaris, you're going to help, but you're like pissing on a forest fire. When you're already producing clean blood, now the Solaris is going and working 10 times better. So every supplement you're doing, as long as it's a safe supplement, a lot of supplements are not safe. The safe supplements are going to work 10 times better because you're cleaning out your receptor sites with the salt water. So now the next level is, okay, let's only spend money in exactly the right areas. Let's stop wasting our money and time and effort on all this other shiny object stuff.
So many shiny objects, Ian. I've spent loads of money trying to figure out which supplement this, which supplement that. What is
Right.
wrong with supplements? Why are some dangerous?
Well, some are dangerous because they're loaded with stuff you don't want in your system. They're overstimulating you. You don't want to do that for sure. You want your body to build its own energy. You don't want to be jacking up your adrenals and messing with your brain chemistry and all that stuff. Those are not good. They make you feel good. They make you feel like Superman for a minute, but that's not realistic, right? You want to find that equilibrium. So most supplements are what I call remedies, and actually remedies are great, but when you remove the problem, you no longer need them. So if you're in a situation like I was in, where I didn't have the knowledge, I didn't know what was wrong, I didn't know what was killing me, I needed help. And so that supplement came and that was a remedy. Oh, thank you. I really appreciated that because I was at that level of knowledge I didn't know. I was like, I needed that then. That's why supplements are great. That's why doctors are great. Doctors can help you even when you're at a really bad place where you can't figure it out. And maybe they can go in and figure it out for you and help you. Like, I'm not against doctors at all. I just was against the doctors giving me those treatments and telling me that I didn't have anything else to do and it was genetic predisposition. I don't like that at
Yeah.
all. But the medical institutions are there for a reason. They're there to help people where they're at, right? So you want to fly above the things that you'll ever need a doctor for. That's your goal. I'm not against them. Same with the naturopaths. They're wonderful. They look at it from a more holistic standpoint, from a natural remedy. They try to go to more of the root cause than medical doctors. And so they're great. But you don't want to ever have to have a naturopath. Once you learn how to get rid of the problem and the problems are gone, you don't have any more symptoms. You don't need any more remedies. So how many people are we going to get the information to soon? It's difficult because, first of all, people say, well, if this is true, everybody would know it. No, that's not true. Or this is too good to be true. Well, no, actually, it might sound like it, but it is actually the most true thing you'll ever find. Because when you do it, then you find out for yourself what's true. You can only know if you do it. Me talking all the time isn't going to do it, but I'm sharing the info. So results, it has to be visible results. If you can't see results that you can measure, you're not on the right track. Like, for example, I had a very injured structural body. I worked in the oil field for 17 years. I was injured by equipment. I had, it's a fast moving thing. I almost lost, digits. I could have lost limbs. I was just in the nick of time. I almost lost my left hand.
Wow.
It would be cut off right there, right. All these fingers gone. And I saw this thing coming, and it just last second it went like that, and it was bang, and that was the end of my hand.
Oh.
It was like I didn't know until the very last split second, but my proprioception was so dialed in at that age. I was like 20 years old. Boom, right, and it didn't get me. But whoa, that was the closest I ever came. And anyway, a lot of guys lose their limbs out there. But I was injured. So I had bad knees and bad shoulders, really bad. Like my left knee was so injured when I was 21, I could no longer water ski or snow ski again.
Wow, man.
I couldn't twist it, even going down a set of stairs if I twisted it. And I had it checked every which way. There was nothing broken, but it had been crushed and torn. So I could walk and run, but I couldn't twist it. So then when I was 60 years old, I found out how to repair that with this percussion thing with the activator. And I completely healed my knee so I can do whatever I want with it now. And it's like, why don't people know about this? It visibly fixed my knee. I can show you pictures. Have you seen any pictures from the activator?
No, we're going to post all of these, but tell me what the activator is, because it looks like one of those little slapstick things that you might find in a toy store. But what is the activator?
Right. Oh yeah, that's not a toy. That's a medical tool that comes from classical Chinese medicine. It's using percussion on the skin. You're not harming yourself with it. It's just giving percussion. Yeah. There's a frequency and a vibration from the percussion that releases all the stuff in the body right to the center of the body. And it's a stimulator. You do it for 5 minutes. And when I did my left knee looked healthy, looked fine. I did the treatment on it, and it looked terrible. And this is what it looked like.
Holy cow! From the activator?
Right. That's from the activator.
That's not a toy store. So, no way.
Nope.
Holy shit.
Nope. This is and so that looks like a big bruise, but it's not. That's the nanoparticular garbage that was jammed up in my knee for 39 years from the injury. Plus, I'd had it before the injury, but the injury, death by a billion cuts. So if you take a look at that, that's That's in 20. This is 2019 or yeah, 2018. Sorry, this is May 2018, and I'll show you about it, later in 2019 because I did the same treatment a
Yeah,
year later. But that looks like a
that looks
bruise, right? But
horrible.
this is okay. This is some different angle
That's
shots.
horrid, man.
That's 30 minutes later. Look how much it broke up in 30
Wow.
minutes. Bruises don't do that. This is 6 hours later, pink. And so for the next week, it turns kind of a brownish gray. It drained up to my hip and down to my ankle. It leaves in through the bowel movements. It just gets cleaned up by the microcirculation and the lymphatic. And then my knee was perfectly well within 1 week.
Wow.
I could do whatever I wanted. I could test it. And it's been good ever since. So a year later, I did this treatment. So you can see the little hand come up. It's a little slapper thing. And I'll just fast forward it. You see, this is what the treatment is.
And
That's
you're
all
just
it
doing
is.
this at your
It doesn't
house.
take any skill. Yep. It doesn't take any skill at all.
And you said you did this a year later. Were you doing it in between?
No, you don't have to. Once it's done, it's done. And so you can see the skin's turning pink. See how hard I'm going? You start soft and rapid, and then you go hard, right? But it's only turning pink. Nothing happens. So then, and I did the full. I'm just fast forwarding it. That's like at 4.5 minutes. That's really going. My microphone won't pick up on the sound on that. I don't know why, but it just doesn't. It's a really loud slap. Okay, and then in the end, it's just pink. Like that's it. That's how it looked at the end.
Wow.
15 minutes later, you couldn't tell I did a treatment. So that's when you know that things are done. They're fixed. Now, people look at that and they go, well, bruising is bad. Pain is bad. Swelling is bad. That's true. If you're in a baseball game and you get smacked in the leg by a hard ball or a softball really hard, you'll bruise for 6 to 8 weeks. It's damaging. It's hard, really bad. This is not that. This is the exact opposite. This is a treatment that releases all the injury and the damage inside the body completely. It just happens. So the more injured you are, or the more nanoparticular garbage you have in that part of your body, the more it's going to discolor and swell up and burn and hurt during the treatment. That last treatment where I was slapping my leg like that, I couldn't feel it.
Holy cow.
It was just a bit of stinging for the first 30 seconds, and then it just goes numb, and you just go. And nothing happened because there's no more pain there. There's nothing to come
I haven't
out.
heard this in the health scene ever.
Right. Correct. Now, everyone should know about it. Seeing is believing. It works 100% of the time for 100% of the people. Guaranteed. But you have to know. It's like if I just say, "Oh, you got to slap yourself," you're crazy. See, it's the problem is they haven't got down to the root, where their emotions are.
Ooh.
To get the feeling, to ask the questions, so their thinking comes online. I had to go through all that. I'm like, when I first started doing it, I go, God, am I insane? I'm slapping my body and it's swelling up and bruising and burning and killing me and hurting. Are you kidding? Why am I doing this? Because I had found out that there was massive study into this and it was shared internationally, but not to us. I just found out about it randomly through a guy sent me a link and goes, check this out. It was called Self-Healing Simple and Free. And I just watched this short video and went, that sounds right somehow. Because I asked to be led to these people, and I was.
We need to finish there on this being led to. Let's say we're in a compromised health state, which we all are, we could say.
Yep.
We all are sick in some way or another. We all have the incredible opportunity to be healthy. And we all are healthy, right? We just got to get past that, what we're being dealt with. The environment is throwing shit at us, and we all are healthy beings. We're just being blocked sometimes. How do you ask for the keys when you didn't know anything and you just said, I want to be led towards it? How can we be led towards it, Ian?
Well, I found out that I was on a mission, because everyone has a mission. You're given a mission in life. It could be multiple missions, but there's overall missions. Why are you here? Who are you? Where'd you come from? Where are you going? What's up? What is this place? Right. And so your mission is to serve people with the greatest value, with the gifts that you're given, because a gift is given to you. And then you work on those things and improve that. But it's a mission-based thing. I knew that I was on a mission to do something good in this lifetime to benefit humanity. I'm not going to be the hero. I'm not going to be the superstar, but I knew that I was on a mission. It was just a gut instinct. And everybody has that gut instinct, but it gets buried from all the society pressures and you're telling you're not good enough, and you're never, you're not going to amount to anything, and on and on.
Right.
So anyway, I knew I was on a mission, and I knew that my mission was going to be cut off. I was like, well, that doesn't sound right. I don't think I'm supposed to die right now. So therefore, what's killing me has to be found out why. And I need to find out how to get rid of it, because I think I'm on a mission. I'm pretty sure. And I want to complete that mission. And I need to keep living a long time to do this, because I'm just learning things at 46 years old. You're just finally starting to learn stuff. I learned a lot up to that point, but I'm talking about really like getting it ingrained into you, right? And so I didn't fear dying. I'm not Puss in Boots. I don't fear death. No, I didn't fear dying, because I thought that I was going to get information soon enough to support me to move forward. And that's called faith. But I didn't drum up the faith. You can't drum up faith. I can't say, oh, I'm such a faithful person. Are you kidding? I'm like everybody else. Faith is a revelatory thing. So it's like when you're a little kid. You have faith in your parents. Your parents are telling you, oh, it's okay, John. You can go in the swings. You can go skating. You can do this. You can go skiing. It's going to be fun. You find out that's true. So your faith is built in your parents' guidance as they are more, as you do what they told you and it worked out for you, right? Then you're building faith. To start with, you're just sort of trusting them because you think your parents are going to be out for your betterment, right? Hopefully. And so then you build that. So faith comes by hearing words. So I just had this building of faith by hearing truth about the health thing. I just was not worried about the tumor anymore. I wasn't worried about that stuff. I didn't like it. It scared me. But I thought, no, being afraid isn't going to help anyway. So what's the point of being afraid? I don't believe in that. I mean, that's fear hormones and anxiety or whatever else. And I'd have waves of that sometimes. I remember waking up in the middle of the night sweating like, what is going on? Like that kind of stuff. And then just shake it off. Move on. It's not going to help to be worried. So then that's where you got to go back to your emotions, get your feelings sorted out, think clearly, get your behavior dialed in. You're a habit pattern person. You have a series of habit patterns. Just like you asked me what my routine in the morning is. I have a very specific routine. Just so when I'm doing the 36-hour fast, I don't have to do anything.
Absolutely. Man.
Yeah.
This has been wonderful. And I want to know, where can we find these minerals now? Because we gotta build back the materials, man. We really do.
Right, for sure. Well, our company was formed because we knew we had to make sure the quality was there, and that we could scale properly without compromising quality. And so, Activation Products is the name of the company, and we have a manufacturing facility about a 10-minute drive from where I'm sitting here in the studio, and it's a 70,000 square foot building in a town called Cobourg, Ontario. And we pull raw materials from around the world, and we put them together into a value-added product, and we package it, and then we ship it internationally. So we have fulfillment in Canada, US, Australia, and the UK right now, just for people who are in that area, so they don't have to pay so much for shipping, because shipping overseas is no fun, cost-wise. But in Canada, US is very reasonable, and we keep the prices of the product as low as we can within reason, because we have to have profitability in the products to be able to grow the company to serve more people. So we've always taken all the money that the company has made. We didn't pull it out and become wealthy and run around the world like jet setters. We took the money and reinvested it, because it's actually your money. So if you buy a product from us, it's your money. You're trusting us with your money and saying, please, would you do something with this that's going to help me more? Okay, and we give you something worth more than your money, which is a product. And then, because otherwise you can't spend millions of dollars like we did to figure this stuff out. That doesn't work. It was our job to do that. That's why we're given the money. We're given the money to be rich, because we're not. We're wealthy because we're healthy, right? So we have ample resources and finances to work with that we can invest and keep doing this stuff. So we got really good at what we did, and we're getting even better all the time. So what our goal is to be able to get people to stop spending money where they shouldn't be. So that gets rid of that problem. Start investing properly over here. And once your body cleans up, your grocery bill drops about 75%. And you eat the best food on earth, but you only need a little bit. You don't need a lot. So I don't gain weight. I don't lose weight. My body has found the place where it wants to be. I didn't tell it what to do. I'm not interested in losing fat. Like all these fat loss or all these weight. I'm sorry, I got that backwards. I'm not interested in losing weight. If I was overweight, I don't say I want to do weight loss. I just want a fat loss. I don't want to lose precious fluids and muscle mass and things like that. You want to lose unhealthy fat and toxic garbage.
And what's in the fat?
So, yeah. Well, lots of garbage in the fat.
And I love how transparent you are, because once we can go back to the health scene, the wonderful, beautiful health scene in all of its glory, a lot of people are trying to sell gimmicks and products and all that BS, right? And they're trying to charge $1 billion for this and that.
Well, there's some of that. There's not a lot, because though what happens with them is they make $1 million and then they fail and they fall, right? They go away because it's fake. But what companies are doing, they're trying to bring remedies. They don't know how to remove the problem. They actually rely on you not knowing how to remove the problem. They're not maliciously hoping you don't figure the problem out. They just don't know. They're just so ingrained and indoctrinated of what they think the problems are. They create products around those problems instead of doing something that just gets rid of the problem.
Interesting.
So they're actually well-intentioned. They're doing the best they can with the knowledge they've got. They're trying to make a better marketing campaign, a better looking brand, so you can have confidence in them. And they're actually doing the best they can. There's some pretty awesome companies out there. It really is. And they do have a good product line, but I'm now at a state where I don't need them anymore. I did for a while, for sure.
Wow.
And so with activation, we just went to the core. What are the absolute must-haves? What's the thing that's going to move the needle the most? What is the thing that's going to save you the most money? Because, man, you don't want to be – who wants to be a health nut? No way. I don't want to chase my tail all day long just to be healthy. That would suck. And that's what people end up doing, because there's so many herbal remedies. There's so many gurus. There's so many experts. There's so many companies. There's so many SKUs. It's hundreds of thousands of different SKUs now in the health space. It really is. And it's entertaining, but that's for the masses. And so I'm not against them at all. I think that they have their place. They generate lots of revenue. They try to do the best they can. And again, the crappier companies filtered themselves out already.
That's beautiful, man. Ian, we're going to have to do a second one and discuss all your amazing products, because there are a lot and there's really cool. And this whole story of your beginnings, from your trials and errors all the way to what everyone is facing, longevity, toxins, it's been beautiful, man. And I can't thank you enough, Ian. Thank you, dude.
Yeah, well, thank you, John, for having me on. It's been a great conversation, for sure.
Let's do this again sometime soon, brother.
All right, yeah, we will. Yeah,
I'm going to post all your links down below for Ian Clark, from his company to his awesome TikTok with all these hacks and stuff that he's just thrown out from the water, things from acne and gluten and 5G Wi-Fi. It's been a journey, man. Thank you so much, Ian. Thank you for listening once again to the Cool Health Podcast. I hope you found some meaning out of this episode. Share this with your friends, like and subscribe for more. Thank you once again.